Cheat on me and I'll ruin your life for everybody you touch. 2 stories. Ronnie was a serial cheater throughout high school, but he was more than that. He was manipulative. He would blow through relationships, typically 4 at a time. They would only ever last a week to a couple months before the girls would catch him cheating. He'd proceed to leak their nudes or spill their secrets and move on to a new demographic of women. He was charismatic and scapegoated his problems onto his dying father. It didn't matter anyhow, he would destroy the victim's reputation until they weren't trusted, anyways. Despite this, I was in love. I was his side piece through it all. Morally, I knew it was wrong, but I had never been in love before. Besides, he wasn't lying to me like the other girls. He was honest about the fact he was cheating. I was special. I stuck it out. 2 years later and he's fallen in love with me, too. Or so I thought. He vowed to give up cheating, even gave up PRN just to have me love him back. I accepted it. We planned to marry. He was always so smart about his manipulation. When friends blocked me randomly, or called me abusive, I thought it was just a misunderstanding. When people began to become aware of deep, personal secrets, I thought maybe I had slipped up during a conversation. No one ever told me Ronnie had called me abusive, a cheater or a liar. I never knew he accused me of being the things he secretly was. He would insult me late at night, before bed, and then claim he didn't remember in the morning. He would slip sly comments into our talks, just enough to make me doubt myself but never question him. He was a master at gaslighting until I hated myself and only wanted to please him. I was head over heels in love, despite all of it. He would casually slap me, never when I was upset, but when I said things he didn't like. He would slap me across the face and I would be too shocked to speak. He followed it up by laughing and playing it off as okay to do, or a joke, so I wouldn't fight back. If I expressed it was wrong or told anyone, he said I was misunderstanding a playful tap. Halfway through our relationship, I followed work to another state and maintained an LDR with him. It was my dream. I wanted so badly to stay. But after 8 months, I gave up my home, my pets and my job to move 1,000 miles across the country to live with him again. I had literally nothing and was absolutely penniless. 3 months after this, I caught him cheating. He had asked a girl on a date via an alt Twitter account. I was hurt, but ultimately it wasn't so bad, so I forgave him. The seed of doubt was already planted, however. 2 months later, I snooped through his phone and noticed he had several Reddit accounts saved to Chrome. I vaguely recalled he used Reddit to view PRN before, and I got a bad feeling in my stomach. I began guessing his common email password combos. I got 5 hits total. They were more than I expected. I figured maybe he was lying about not watching PRN, which is not a big deal to me, but for 6 months he had been using these accounts to cheat on me using hookup and PRN subreddits. I confronted him. He screamed, telling me he had already apologized to me for cheating a few months ago and I needed to quit making him sad. That he had already said sorry and I wasn't going to get anything else. He explained that he had continued to cheat because he feared I would leave and he wanted a second option. I spent a week and a half sobbing. I had nothing but this man and I had never been good enough for him. I was destroyed. He screamed at me nearly every day, telling me my crying was annoying, that my depression made him uncomfortable. Telling my friends I was guilt-tripping him over something that didn't happen. Finally I snapped. I had wasted all of my high school and early adult years with a man who did nothing but walk on me. I went back to Reddit and counted every person he had flirted with or exchanged messages with. I began to voice record every conversation. Screenshot every text. Next I downloaded Tinder and Bumble. For every girl he cheated on me with, I ducked a guy behind his back. When we went out with friends, I began to act more and more sad and slowly dropped in conversation how Ronnie had been yelling at me the night before and that it had upset me. I began to vent to his friends and show them every screenshot. Then I emailed his mother, his grandparents and his work voice recordings of him screaming at me. I asked his boss if his company supported domestic violence. I cried to his mother and she held me as I vented my frustrations, explaining how she had been cheated on by Ronnie's father. Ronnie began to scapegoat again. He told me he was sick in the head and his depression was causing him to act like that. I knew he was attempting to gaslight me. When we were young, I was so in love with him that I saved almost every photo and text he had sent me to a OneDrive. I found all the times he had admitted to leaking nudes, cheating and ruining girls' lives. I got in contact with each of the girls, making one big group chat and sending them every bit of evidence I could find. These were then posted all over Facebook. He had dreams of getting into politics. I joined every political group in our area and pretended to be interested in joining. I befriended the members and casually dropped into conversation how Ronnie had cheated on me and verbally abused me and ruined other people's lives. They would inquire more. I would vent and show them the mountain of evidence I had collected. Ronnie was still unaware I had done it. He spent the night screaming and crying about how no one liked him and he wasn't sure why. He had lost his job. His friends and family wouldn't speak to him. He was being publicly shamed on social media and his political group had ousted him. I finally dropped it onto him that I had done it and I was leaving. During all this, I had secretly removed what little money I had from his bank account and contacted distant relatives and asked for a place to stay. I was leaving. He didn't have anything left to abuse or manipulate. I don't have a solid ending for this. I just wanted to say duck you, Ronnie. I wasted my youth being abused and I won't stand for it anymore. Story 2. This happened about 6 years ago when I was halfway through my medicine degree. In my country, it is not as difficult to enter med school like in the USA, so I was very young, barely 20 years old at the time. Also, I had just recently came out of the closet. Yes, this is a gay story, hee hee. This is very important, because I came out after my first ever male love interest, we will call him Andrew, rejected me and basically outed me to the entire faculty in the process. But that is another story. So, I was in the middle of a very hard twosome meaning heartbreak when here I met the third protagonist of this tale, my rebound, who I will call Philip. Well, I had met him before, around the time I was trying to woo Andrew, because the two of them hated each other, the sworn enemies kind of thing. So, it seemed natural that he came to me after the rejection. Andrew and I had been very good friends and Philip befriended me to get intel or something he could us against him. I was not mad about it, all the other way around, I was totally on board with his plan. The next 2 or 3 months, we spent a lot of time together, partly because we liked to talk SHT about Andrew and bully him to a certain point, mostly bad rumors we spread behind his back, and partly because we had many other things in common, TV series, hobbies, song taste, etc. By the end of the semester, I came to realize I had fallen in love hard for Philip. Sadly, this was not his case. Philip was technically straight, so I did not try anything romantic with him. I later found out he knew of my crush anyways. It seems I suck at hiding my feelings and just decided to ignore it so as not to damage our relationship. But things suddenly changed. He started acting coldly and treating me bad every time I tried to reach him, and at one point he confronted me about my crush. Not only did he reject me but started calling me a clingy fa6t among other insults. Needless to say, our friendship was completely destroyed. Much later I found out that during this time Philip had been experimenting with his S-timeality and was having S-time with another hetero-curious dude. When this guy decided he preferred his girlfriend over Philip, he basically turned his anger against me. I admit, I can be quite irritating sometimes, so it seems this was what made me the perfect bullseye for his hate. So here I am, second heartbreak in less than 6 months, that is my luck. But still not mad enough to do something about it. Until I felt the backstabbing. I do not know how, when or why, but some weeks after our fallout, Philip and Andrew had become best friends forever, those you dream having when you are a kid. It was impossible seeing them apart while going around campus, at parties or even in class. Rumor has it they were more than just friends. By this point Philip was also out of the closet, as a bistimul man, and now I was the one being bullied. Soon enough, after they started hanging out, gossip about me became the norm. I became known as a crazy stalker and obsessed little man. Hey, even Gollum from Lord of the Rings seemed saner than I based on their stories. Additionally, any contact I had with Philip or Andrew ended in confrontation, to the point I had to actively evade them. That is when I decided to act, and what started only as a little prank, ended being something deadly. Time came for the birthday party of a friend we all three had in common and in which all our social groups will be reunited under one roof. She was a very popular girl. Me and my girl befriend, Clara, designed a little trick that would embarrass my two heartbreakers in front of everyone. It was very simple. We bought some Viagra pills, smashed them, and the plan was to mix some of it in their drinks to make them act churny and get a non-stoppable erection during the whole party. Both loved using skinny pants, so we knew it would not only be very painful, but very visible too. Clarification: as med students, we knew mixing alcohol and Viagra could have side effects, so we calculated a low dosage for our prank. This will be important later. Flash forward, we are all in the party and everything is going great. Too great, I will say. I was very happy, and very drunk. I even thought of just letting my stupid plan go to waste and enjoy the party. But in the end, my bad judgment won. With Clara's help, it was not hard to slip the Viagra powder in my target's drinks while everyone was distracted. They sipped it whole. Minutes later, I could see the effects of the drug on Andrew as he was trying to get away from anyone in the dance floor while covering his privates. Fun fact: in Latin America we tend to dance very close to each other, perreo intenso, reggaeton, bachata, all that thing, so it was actually very funny seeing him at the beginning trying to explain to every dance partner that he wasn't trying to rape them in the middle of the dance floor with his erection. All things said, he was very well endowed. You may be thinking, what a lame revenge, get out of here. But this is not the end. While Andrew was suffering the funny side effects, Philip was not that lucky. His friends were asking if anyone had some medicine for pain control, as he was having a moderate migraine. Remember the doses thing? Fearing I had screwed up and gave him more than what I wanted, I came to check on him, to see if he was alright. What happened next was what led to the unfortunate events of the rest of the night. When I came close, he pushed me away very hard and threw me to the floor. He was drunk, churny and had a headache, all things making him more aggressive than usual. He started insulting me in front of everyone, shouting that I was trying to take advantage of him while he was sick. If not for some of the people around us that stopped him on time, he would have hit me in the face. In that moment I snapped. I hated this guy. I hated him with all my heart. I hated that I was again the center of all the mean looks because of his dumb comments. I hated him so much, I decided I wanted him dead. Remember, dear reader, I was drunk. Under normal circumstances I would have not been able to pull this through. But the alcohol had weakened my moral compass and the anger had ended the job. I stood up, did not say a thing against him, and went looking for the first aid kit. I had been to my friend's house before, so I knew where it was, unlike Philip's group. I took a pill and handed it to the first one of them I found, telling her it was acetaminophen, for the headache. She bought it and I just waited. In fact, what I had given the girl was a tablet of nitroglycerin I took from the kit. In my country both look very similar, so it's hard to tell them apart. Under normal circumstances, nitroglycerin is used for chest pain, but one of its main contraindications is its use with Viagra due to their potent combined effect. It can be lethal. I knew it. I did not care. Soon enough, I heard the screams. Philip had fallen to the floor due to a drastic blood pressure drop as I expected, and everyone was already calling our version of 911. I will skip fast what happened in the next few hours. The party obviously ended, and Clara took me to her house. She was panicking, believing our prank had killed him and that we would go to jail for the rest of our lives. I was in my drunk supervillain stupor and told her to calm down, assuring her that our police system was so dumb they would not find out. I cannot stress enough how drunk I was, and the egotistical douchebag I can become when that happens. Meanwhile, Philip was taken to the ER where they rehydrated him and were able to stabilize him. So no murder happened that night, although it was close. The next day, I finally recovered my senses while being hangover. Now afraid of my stupidity, I used every means I had to find out what happened to Philip and, more importantly, if someone knew I was involved in all the thing. Something essential here is that Philip was taken to our college hospital due to our friend living close to the campus. As I was doing my practices there, it was easy seeing his medical record, so this is the reason I know what is coming next. In brief, Philip had entered a state known as distributive shock due to the hypotension he suffered from the mix of Viagra, nitroglycerin and alcohol. Luckily for everyone involved, he had arrived to the hospital just in time and nor his brain nor his heart suffered permanent damage. His kidney kind of had some acute problems but nothing serious. On the other hand, no one suspected a thing about me. The doctors assumed it had been a bad reaction to the excess of alcohol and maybe a recreational drug at the party, as this was not uncommon to happen. Some tests were done but nothing came out, and after he completely recovered, they just decided to let it be. The police were not brought upon even once. The afterwards of all this is very curious. I assume that due to his near-death experience, Philip became more docile, if you could say. The rumors about me stopped and, with time, our animosity towards each other faded. Same with Andrew. Later that year I found a boyfriend and my heart slowly recovered from what happened with the duo. This experience altogether also helped me realize I had some anger issues among other things, so I started going to psychological therapy to work on them and to prevent something similar of ever happening again. Till this day no one knows what really happened that night, and even my best friend just believes our prank backfired. Not that I had actually intended to kill someone. And that is the end. Yeah, kind of heavy. If someone is wondering, I know the huge F up all this was, and as I said before, I am not proud of it. I was very, very lucky nothing serious happened. On a side note, therapy helped me, so that's A+. Thanks anyone who had reached this far for reading all. Hope nothing like this ever happens to you. TL, DR. 2 guys broke my heart and bullied me, so I almost killed one of them in a prank involving easy to find medicines.